All right, how's everybody doing tonight? Doing okay? Hopefully I had time to get the pin in. I'm going to go and get started. A little shorter class tonight. I'm feeling a little under the weather, so I'm not going to try to walk around like I normally do tonight. But we will go over the tutorial in the book on editing and formatting. A little different format. Usually I have you guys do an in-class exercise before you leave. You will still do the in-class exercise, but you can do it, if you would, outside of class. I'll dismiss you, so you won't get as much as my air on you. This one I've changed it up a little bit. I'll go ahead and go over the in-class exercise and the homework first tonight. I'll reverse it a little bit if that's okay. And then, so on the in-class exercise, here's how you're going to do it. Mine will open up here. On this step right here, on week 3, where it says in-class exercise, I need you to click on the first. You're going to right-click on this link and download it. If you left-click on it, it should still prompt you, I believe, to download it. You want to download this to your desktop, okay, whenever you get home. On this step here, follow instructions on this document. This will also prompt you to open a document. You can save that to the desktop as well. Now in this document, I'll go ahead and open it up here for you to show you what it looks like. In fact, let me open it up within a new window to be bigger. Okay. All I need you to turn in, it starts with like exercise 1 and goes to like 14, 15, 16. The only one I want you to do is exercise 9 through 11 as far as what I want you to turn in. You can do all the exercises because a lot of them are having you just click here, click there, showing you how to search throughout the document using your arrow keys. But the only thing I'm going to be turning is on pages 9 through 12, exercise 9 through 11. I'm going to go ahead and go there real quick to show you that. So let me go ahead and go to page 9. Page 9 has you basically open up that document from the first step that you downloaded, which I believe is like Word 2010.doc, I believe, something like that. And it has you go through and practice cutting and pasting in Microsoft Word. And then once you go through that, it has you go through the next exercise 10, which is moving text using copy and paste. Just follow the directions on that. And then exercise 11 is dropping and dragging your text and then editing it using your mouse. When you get finished with this exercise 11, it does have you save your changes to the document, which is going to be the Office 2010 document. And then it says here, open the file called copy, moving, practice, and following instructions in the document that practice copy and moving. You don't need to do that. So you're only going up through step 5 on exercise 11. Does that make sense? Stop there. And then you are finished with the in-class exercise that you're doing out of class tonight. Now, when does this need to be done? If you could have this done, today's Wednesday, if you could have this done and to me by the end of day tomorrow, which would be like 5 p.m., that would be great. So you have a little bit more time to do this one. It's not going to take you probably 10 minutes to complete it at the most. But if you could have it to me by 5 tomorrow, that would be great. I try to have these graded by Thursday. So any questions on that, on the in-class exercise? Okay. Let's go to the next one, which is a take-home for week 3. The take-home is Word Project 2.1, creating a flyer You might see in this week a folder called Files. Disregard that. It's just a folder I put in there to pull files from for these other folders in here. So you can go in there. It's not going to hurt anything, but you don't need to go into that Files folder. So in the week 3 Dropbox Word Project 2.1 or 2.1, create a flyer. This has the Word Project 2.1, creating a flyer, instructions as always, and then here's the solution of what it should look like when you're finished. I won't open both of these up. You've done this enough now. This being the 3rd week, you know how this works. And so this is the instructions for the flyer, solution. And as always, I've had a few questions on the last 2 projects from some folks. If it's not exactly looking like the solution, that's fine. If it's not exact, I'm not looking for exactness. If it's around about that same format, you're going to get full credit for it, okay? Does that make sense? And so if you know, as long as it's close to it, you're good to go. When you're through with this, you'll put your full name in the title as always, attach the document and submit it. And then one last thing before we go into the tutorial is the review quiz. Make sure before you do the review quiz or the homework that you have went through the tutorial 2 completely. Also, you have done the in-class exercise, which is due by tomorrow at 5 p.m. And that's it. So any questions on it? Again, you have from now till Wednesday to finish these up as always. And again, I apologize for my being under the weather, but it actually hit me late this afternoon. So let's go ahead and get started then with the Word tutorial, editing and formatting. Go ahead and open up a Word document. And as soon as we're through going through this tutorial and having you do some stuff in Word that I want you to kind of go over, you're free to go. Okay, if you have any questions, you can come and see me. Maybe stand over there by the door. Probably a good idea. But you definitely be more glad to answer any questions for you. Okay.
What is the login password for today?
Don't worry about it. Yeah, don't worry. You just came in, right?
Yeah.
I'm a little under the weather, so I'm doing things a little different tonight. I just went over the take-home assignment, the in-class exercise I normally have you guys do. I'm going to have you take home and do. So you might get with a student right before you leave. I will try to have this podcast uploaded immediately after class. That way you can see it. And so, but you might get with somebody right before you leave. Probably a good idea. Okay. Editing and formatting a document is this tutorial. It goes over just basic grammar and spell checking, selecting and deleting text, moving text, finding and replacing text. Most of this tutorial is how to get around a Word document and move stuff, basically, whether it be copying, deleting, highlighting, searching. That's what this one's going over for the most part on the first part of it. Then the latter part of it goes over formatting existing text within a document, like margins, a paragraph, using what's called a format painter that we'll go over tonight in class. We will create a custom bullet tonight in class, show you how to create a custom bullet to where a lot of companies like to do this. They'll take the logo of their company and create a bullet of the logo. And so it won't be the boring black period. It's actually a logo of the company. Change fonts and adjust fonts, document theme, and then print and preview is what this tutorial goes over. So basically, and we went over this a little bit last week, as we were typing in a document, you'll note on the bottom left corner of Word, the spell and grammar dictionary is moving. The pencil is moving over the top of it, and it's spelling and doing grammar as you type. I believe we also went into last week the dictionary, the custom dictionary and the Word dictionary, where that's located and how you can manipulate that. When you type in a grammatical error in Word, it will catch it and put a green squiggly line underneath it. And when you put your mouse over it, Spelling errors are going to be red, grammatical errors green. And then it does give you suggestions for both grammatical sometimes, and it'll generally give you suggestions for spelling errors as well. It sometimes doesn't know what to do on grammatical errors, but if it does, it might give you a suggestion. If you're transposed words wrong or something, or I'm big for incomplete sentences, it'll do that. To accept a suggested correction, you click on that suggestion and select it and correct it. You can also skip it as well throughout the document. And so if we go to the Word document real quick right now, just a blank document here, let's go ahead and purposely type in a sentence with some grammatical mistakes and word spelling mistakes. I'll go ahead and blow mine up here real quick and I'll type something in. Okay? Let's go ahead and type in the brown. I'm going to put D-A-G instead of dog. I'm going to put dag. I might not even catch that. Try something else. D-S-G. Let's try that. Is going, and I'm going to put an H there instead of a G, to okay, so let me go ahead and blow that up to where you can see what I typed in and see if you can type that in yours as well. Okay, so the brown DSG is G-O-N-H, G-O-N-I-N-H, to J-U-M-L. Okay, so you'll notice the first, second, and third is red, and so that means it's a spelling error. Okay, and so if I put my mouse over this first error and right click, if it doesn't come up immediately, you can right click on it and it'll come up with suggestions. You'll notice mine has DS, dig, dog, Doug, and DS apostrophe. Okay, so all I can do on this one is go down and select dog. Same with the next one. I'll right click. I can select one, which I'll do in a second, or I could, as we talked about last week, I could add it to a dictionary, or I could ignore it. I'm going to go ahead and select going. And then the last one, select jump. Okay? And so it caught the spelling errors. Now if I got rid of, for instance, let me get rid of the word is. The brown dog going to jump. Put a period there, space, enter. There we go. Now there's a green one, a grammatical error. Okay? So right click on this one. And notice it says it's fragmented, but it doesn't give me a suggestion. All right? Now if I did this, instead of the brown dog is going to jump, maybe I put the brown dog are going to jump by accident. Now notice the green squiggly line on the dog and are, under dog and are. Right click on that. It does give me a suggestion here to change it from dog are to dog is or dogs are, to be more grammatically correct. Yes?
My computer didn't underline dog R. Actually, you know what? I think I put R dog.
Okay, our dog. Yeah, it should do exactly like mine is doing. Did everyone else do that too? Put the green squiggly line under dog is? Okay, good. So yours did once you corrected it? Okay, good. So I'm going to go ahead and select dog is. So we went over the spelling and grammatical both. Spelling red, grammatical green is what Word gives you for the spell check. You can choose ignore all, as I already mentioned. Last week we already went over this, but you can click add to custom dictionary as well. If you add it to a dictionary, it will no longer prompt you from that point on that Word document or on that Word program on that computer again, once you've added it. Now one of the things you can do too, if we'll go back to the document real quick, you can go to the Review tab. Go ahead and click on the Review tab real quick. On the left, upper left corner, click Spelling and Grammar Check button, and then you should get this prompt that says it has completed. Now, if there was grammatical errors we didn't correct as we were typing, or spell check errors, it would stop on those errors that it finds and tell us those same suggestions, but in a dialog box. Okay. Okay, delete key, or deleting text. You can actually, within Word, select text in multiple areas with the control key, control click, and then you can then, once you've selected that, hit the delete key on the keyboard to delete those. So if we go back to the one sentence we just typed in, if we highlight that sentence, the brown dog is going to jump, and copy it, just do a Control C once you highlight it. Then put your cursor to the right of the period, and let's do Control V a number of times just to work for everybody. Okay. Now to move text, you're going to press and hold the mouse button until the drag pointer appears, and then drag it to a certain area within your document. So if we go to our document, and I highlight this first sentence, the brown dog is going to jump, press and hold and drag my text to somewhere else in the document, and you can do it with me, and you can move it anywhere you want to, just to show you how you can move it. You'll notice how when you press and hold and move, you've got the cursor, dotted vertical cursor, and your arrow with a little box under it. That's showing you when you do release your mouse where it's going to send it to. So if I release my mouse here, it's going to move it here to this area. And again, that's just selecting a portion of text, clicking and holding it, and then dragging it. Now, moving text, as you're moving it, you will see the dotted line as it shows here, showing you where it's going to move to. If you hold it there long enough, like I did while I was talking, it'll actually give you some options. It might have done that with you too if you kind of just held your mouse there. One of the options will be either copy or move, okay, if you hold it there long enough. Now what Windows does, and this goes throughout any Office application, Windows has a clipboard in it. And this is in all applications within Windows uses the clipboard for the most part. So you could be, say, on the internet, see an article, you highlight and copy that article, and then bring it over into Word and paste it. And then you could be in a Word document, highlight a document, put it in, say, another document, like, say, another Word document or another PDF document or whatever the case may be, or maybe an email. But the key to cutting and pasting words in Windows is using the clipboard. It's temporary storage. It holds your text until you need them. Now, I think I told you this last week. Most applications in Windows will hold them in memory your copied information until your last save, from your last saved instance. Does that make sense? And so say you're working on a document, you've copied multiple instances of items, you'll have the ability to paste those items or do a Control Z to bring back items up until the last save of your document. So to cut or copy a document or a text is pretty simple. Let's just go ahead and I'll go to the first line here and I'll highlight the word brown, have you highlight that. Right click on the word brown, and notice you have the option to cut or copy. or paste if you've already copied something on your computer, which we have. I'm going to go ahead and select cut. Okay. Once you select cut, what it's actually done is it has cut it from that location and copied that word into the memory of clipboard. Now take your mouse and let's go down to the very bottom line and do a Control V as in Valentine, and that's going to paste that word into there. Okay? Control Z once, Control Z again, brings it back. Okay? Questions on that? Okay? Finding and replacing text. This is used a lot within Word to find text and then replace it with something else, especially if you have, say you have a document that's 100 pages long and you have a part that's in that document that's changed. Maybe it's a real part that your company is selling and it's in there maybe 100 times. Well, instead of going in and manually going page by page to try to find it, you can use the find and replace to do that. So if we go to our Word document here, and up on the upper left corner of the Word document, whenever you go to the Home tab, on the very right side there is a find, a replace, a select area. We're going to go ahead and select on the replace button. Now you'll notice since my word brown was already selected, it put it in the find what text box. Okay? And I'm going to replace it with the word red. So it's going to find all instances of brown and replace with red. Next, all I'm going to do is click the Replace All button. The Replace All button tells me Word has reached the end of the document. 7 replacements were made. Do you want to continue, at the beginning of the document? Yes. Word has completed a search of the document and has made 7 replacements. So say that you just did this to a document that said had 100 instances of that word, and you realize you just typed in the wrong replace. All you need to do is a Control Z. It'll bring back all those instances of what you've just replaced. Just like so. So the find and replace is definitely very powerful, and you can undo it if you do make a mistake, which you will do. Okay? Now, one of the things within the find is you can find things by syntax. By default, what I mean by syntax is upper and lower case sensitive. So what I mean by that is, say for instance, if I go back to my document and I highlight the last brown in this document and put B in all caps for brown, put my cursor back up here at the very top line, I'm going to go to find, and I want to select this time some options for find, and I want to match case. I'm going to click OK. Now I'm going to type in BROWN. You'll notice it just highlighted the one brown in my document. That's it. And one of the newer features with 2010 and 2007 is that as you type in the find box, it begins highlighting those words or word that meets the criteria as you're typing. So as you can see, as I'm typing in there, it's highlighting those words dynamically. So that's kind of nice to see all that at one time. Okay. Yep. Okay, now let's go to margins. A lot of times in your document, you will have to change the margins from the default setup. It's going to be found in the page layout section of the document. And by the way, to close out this find, like I have on my screen, there is an X right here to the right of navigation to close it out. Let's go to the page layout section of your document. Okay. Page layout is in the margins in the page setup area. Okay. I'm going to click on margins, and notice when I click on margins, I have some defaults available to me. Normal, narrow, moderate, wide, mirrored, Office 2003. I always suggest using the custom margins. When you click on that, it brings up this screen you might have seen in prior versions of Windows or in Office that lets you manipulate the margins. So I'm going to go ahead and have you leave top at 1 inch, the bottom at 1 inch, and I want the left and right to be at 0.5, half inch, 0.5. Okay. Now while we're in this page setup area, we have 1 top, 1 bottom, 0.5 left, 0.5 right. If we did have columns in this, which we don't, we could use what's called the gutter, which gives us space in between columns. When we go over the newsletter creation here in the near future, we'll actually use that. Click on the paper tab. This tells you what your default paper size is, and for most of the time you don't have to change this. It's going to be, for the most part in offices, the letter size. Let's say you were printing out a poster, you could select possibly, if your printer was able to do it, an 11 by 17. The next tab is the layout tab. The layout tab goes over some other items in here, one being headers and footers, that if you have header and footers on a document, which we'll talk about in a little bit here, it allows you to say you don't want a header and footer information on the very first page. A lot of times documents do not have that. Okay. Let's go back to the margins tab. I'm going to go ahead and click OK. Do a Control S to save my document, because I didn't have you do that as yet. I'll put that on the desktop. I'm going to save it as first initial last name. Okay. It's actually in your guys' computer. Let me look at it on mine here. Yeah, under favorites, thank you. Click on favorites and it's there. You see it now? Okay, thank you. All right, let me refresh this. I'm going to jump right to the bullet creation of tab. I think the finding, replacing, topping, moving is fairly simple. A line, paragraph, outlines, and margins. Let's do this. We're going to do Format Painter, and then we're going to do bullets, how to create bullets, and we'll end with headers and footers. Okay? That's what we'll do. Okay, so let's talk about Format Painter. Format Painter allows you to do just that, copy, format, and then paste it throughout your document. So if we'll go back to our document here, and I'm going to go have you change the view of your document to what I'm having. Let's go to the View menu, and let's change this to, if it's not already there, mine might have been there already. Yeah, Print Layout. Make sure yours is the Print Layout. And let's change your view to where you can see both sides of the paper on left and right. There we go. I'm at 100% right there. And I'm on Print Layout. Okay, what I want to do is this. Go ahead and highlight the first sentence. The brown dog is going to jump. We're going to do some formatting to it. Let's go ahead and go up to the font style. We're going to change it from Calibri to whatever font you want to. Okay, whatever font you choose. I'm going to do this Bodoni MT Black. I'm also going to change the color of the font to something else. I'll let you change it to whatever color you want to. So change the font style and color, and let's lastly change the font size to something besides whatever it was, 10 or 11. So we've got the brown dog is going to jump. Now it's a little bit larger. I changed it from Calibri to Bodoni, MT Black, and I changed the text from black to blue color. All right, everybody have that? Now what I want to do is this. On the upper left corner of this Home tab, there's a paintbrush. I want you to double click on that paintbrush. Double left click on that paintbrush. And then I want you to take and put your mouse, don't click anything yet, just hover it over to the left of the T and the. You should see like I have on the overhead. Paintbrush with a cursor.
How did you get to, did you double left click or right?
Double left click. Yep, double left click should work. And then as soon as you do, you highlight that line that you just formatted. Then go to, say, this line, the third line down. Highlight it, release, and now let's go to the last line. Highlight that and release. Okay? Go back to the Format Painter, double click, or single click actually, and it'll deselect, and you're back to the regular cursor. Okay? Go to google.com on your web browser, and I want you to search for your favorite animal, whatever that animal might be. That's fine. Lion, tiger, bear, snake. So search for your favorite animal. And when you search for your favorite animal on Google, if you don't know how to download images, I'm going to show you here real quick. Once you've searched for your favorite animal in the Google search box, click on the Images tab in Google, and it's going to bring up a bunch of pictures that it found, Google found. And what I want you to do is this. Click on one of the pictures in Google, and there is a full-size image link right here. It should be anyway, on the right side of your page. Full-size image link. You'll need to click on that full-size image link to where your picture looks like this. And then right-click on the picture and save the image as, and put that image onto your desktop. And remember, to get to your desktop, you have to click on Favorites, then Desktop on your guys' computer. Also, lastly, make sure the file name for that image is something meaningful. A lot of times on the web, when you save a file, it'll be a number. I'm just going to rename this one to Lion. Okay, now go back to your Word document now, and what you're going to do is this. You're going to highlight all those lines of text that you have on your Word document, and then we're going to go up to the Paragraph section in the Home tab. If you're not already there, go to Home tab. And we're going to click on the drop down to the right of the bullets, where my mouse is right now. There's a drop down to the right of the bullets, and you want to scroll down to the one that says Define New Bullet. Does everybody see that? Then you'll get this screen that pops up. We want to select Picture. Click on Picture. And then here's where you're going to get prompted in just a second. We will browse out to that image by using this bottom left import button. The bottom left import button. Now let me stop here for just a second before I click that. Office does have a pretty good library of images, office.com. Because you can search in this search box for images, like the one I searched for in Google was a lion. And for the most part, it'll come back with whatever image you're looking for a newsletter, or for a poster, or whatever the case may be. Used to, the images weren't that great on this search site, but anymore they're actually not too bad. But Let's go ahead and click on the import button on the bottom left. Go to your desktop. Remember, click on favorites. Click on desktop. Find that image that you have on your desktop that you just saved. Mine's lion.jpg. Yours is going to be named differently. But it will have an image icon. If you look on the overhead like mine, it has an actual image icon to the left of the name. Click on the image. Then click the word add on this button over here on the right. Click the word add. You have to click the image first and then add. You see that? Then it should show up in the box here, that image that you just imported. There's my lion. Go ahead and click on the image you just imported one time. Click OK. It'll give you a preview of what that icon's going to look like now, what that bullet's going to look like. If it's the right picture, click OK. If not, go back and insert the right one. Go and click OK. Now you'll notice on your document you've just created a bullet of that custom bullet now of whatever picture that you chose. Insert tab, and we want to go over to the header first and click on the drop down to the right of header, and it should give you some default built-in pre-defined header examples. Everybody see that? Let's go and select one of these examples, like for instance the alphabet one. We'll click that one. You'll notice a nice horizontal line is put in here, and I'll go and type in here RBC students. All right. So this will actually show up on all pages. So let me go ahead now, and what you need to do is, I'll go back to what it was. You'll notice the text below here is grayed out a little bit and not in focus because we're actually focused on the header information. Go ahead and double click on the bottom text and it'll now bring you to the text. Let's do this so we can have at least 2 pages here. Put your cursor at the end of that last sentence and keep hitting the enter key until you get to page 2. All right, it'll actually say, it'll go to page 2, it'll say RBC students, and it'll say on the bottom left corner of your screen, page 2 of 2. All right. If you wanted a different header for the second page, if you double click on the header information, at the top it says different first page, or you can do different odd and even as well. This will specify that odd number pages should have different header and footers from even number. Okay. Generally though, most papers, as I mentioned earlier, for like a cover page, you wouldn't have a header and footer on a cover page. Okay. So generally when you do a research paper or a formal paper, that top checkbox will be checked because you wouldn't want it on a cover page. Does that make sense? And so for the most part, you're going to check that. And if I check that first one, you'll notice that now my cover page or that header information is gone from the first page, but it's there on the second page. Okay? Now let's do this. Go back to the Insert tab, and we'll end with footers here. Again, right click or left click on the drop down. We're going to put in a popular footer. Let's scroll down a little bit on